and gentlemen, my name is JJ Abrams, and today we're going to be looking at the training video for new traffic officers. You only need to watch this video if you've been an instant support unit for a while and you're up for promotion for traffic officer. In this video we're going to be looking at the new vehicles and items that you now have access to as a traffic officer and how and when to use those items. So, let's get started. So the first vehicle you have access to as a traffic officer is of course the truck. This is the first vehicle you get when you pass your interview, and you require the rank of instant support unit to use this vehicle. This vehicle is especially good for rolling around doing your normal patrol, and can be used for partial road closures. The first vehicle you get access to is the four-wheel drive. This was introduced when the Highways Agency spent a season on Tanoa. It's a fast, mobile vehicle with great off-road capabilities. We decided to ship a number of these vehicles back from Tanoa when we spent the time over there, and we're happy to have them here on Altis. Okie dokie, next up we've got the Highways Agency SUV. This vehicle is designed to get you from A to B in comfort and style. This is one of the fastest vehicles you have access to as a traffic officer, and it's a really great vehicle to use on your patrols. It is important to remember that as a member of the Highways Agency you're not allowed to break the speed limit, so always bear that in mind. Here we have the trusty hatchback. This is the non-sport version, so it's really good for training and for city patrols. As such, you're not actually allowed to use this vehicle outside of green zones unless requested to do so by a member of senior management. You'll quite often find this vehicle used by senior officers or management inside cities, or for use during trainings. Here we have the Highways Agency Off-Road Repair. This is a fantastic vehicle. It looks absolutely beautiful and absolutely right for the role. It's fantastic to use off-road and is decent on-road. It's got reasonable inventory storage as well as a really large trunk capacity. You can fill this thing with toolkits all day long. This is the perfect default patrol vehicle. The final vehicle that you now have access to is the famous Highways Agency Zamac Repair. This is my personal favourite vehicle. If you see one of these rolling around Kavala just on a standard patrol, it's probably me that's driving it. This is such an amazing vehicle. It's great for use on events and stuff like that. It's a really high profile vehicle. Right, next up we're going to look at the new items that you have access to as a traffic officer. So you've obviously still got access to all of your consumables, your food, your snap gun, your fuel cans, and your lockpicks. But now you've also got access to placeables. So some important placeables to use are road cones, plastic barrier mediums, road signs, and the portable lights. So we're going to be looking at these items, showing you how to place them and how to use them for their intended roles. Okay, so first of all we're going to be looking at the medium plastic barriers. You're going to be using these an awful lot if you're doing closures, events, stuff like that. These are our traffic control barriers. To place the item you must press P on your keyboard, select the item and press Use. That will then make it float in front of you at a fair distance. When you are placing these items, remember that in this state they are a vehicle and they can kill people. Move the item carefully to the position that you want it to be in, and once you're happy with it, either scroll wheel and press the middle scroll button or press space to assemble the item. It will take a little while for this barrier to sync with the server, and for a while you can still kill people with this item. So if you're not happy with where it has been placed, you can walk up to it, press your Windows button, and you can either press flush to make it flat to the ground, level to make it level with sea level, Dismantle will put it back in your inventory, and move will pick it up and allow you to replace it. Next up, we're going to be looking at the road sign and the portable lights. You must never place a road sign without placing a portable light with it, and you should never place barriers without first putting down a sign. That is an important order to remember, and you'll have to use it during your training. So in order to place a sign down, open your inventory by pressing P, select road sign and hit use. As we did with the barrier, you can now move this. You can also kill people using these signs, so do be very careful when placing them. Once you're happy with where it's been placed, press space and drop the item. Now this sign is a little boring and it doesn't actually give you any information. So if you walk up to the sign and press your Windows menu, you now get an additional option. You can still flush, level, dismantle and move the item, but you also get the option to paint sign. When you press paint sign, you'll be given a menu of all the signs that you have access to, where you can select the item that you wish to use. Now to place a light properly, you should stand in front of the sign and look to your side. This allows the light to completely cover the sign without obscuring it. If it was dark, you'd be able to see. Just a quick note about using road cones is that these road cones are very small and they do not move if you crash into them. If someone in a vehicle crashes into this road cone, their car will be destroyed and they probably will die. So just be very, very careful when placing road cones. Okay, so we're now going to look at using these items in a practical way. And the first thing we're going to look at is placing plastic barriers next to each other. So once you've placed down one plastic barrier, and you're going to place another one next to it, the important thing to remember is that you need to basically no-clip these through each other. Even just slightly, but just so that they form one barrier. This way, they all work together as a single barrier. If you do leave gaps and someone crashes into those gaps, they've essentially just crashed into a tree or an item, and you know that's not going to end well. You stop dead. If you run along the side, you stop, glitch out. It's not a good thing. So just make sure when you're placing barriers that they no-clip slightly through each other. And that's just in the interests of safety. Okie dokie, so I've had reports that there is a tree down in the road. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a partial road closure. Ah yeah, here it is. Okie dokie, so we're going to be doing a partial road closure. Now, first thing first, what we're going to do is we're going to park our truck up to sort of block off the road. Jump out. Lock the vehicle up. So let's have a look in the back and let's see what we need. So let's put some of this standard patrol equipment away for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab our plastic barriers and our portable lights and our road signs. So first things first is we're going to put out some road signs. And we're going to put them about 50 meters either side of the incident. And they're going to say reduce speed now. There we go. So that's that side. Let's do the other side now. So there you go, there's the signs in place before we've even built anything. Next up we're going to be placing our first couple of barriers, and the best place I've found to start is in the middle of the obstruction. The key thing here is to make sure it's even and a slow and gradual sweeping curve around the item. That way you divert the people around the object rather than forcing them into a solid barrier. There we have a quickly constructed closure, and then the only thing I would probably add to this is maybe some lights to illuminate before moving my truck out of the road. Let's grab some more lights. And now we can move the truck out of the road. So someone driving along the road, the first thing they'll come across is the sign telling them to reduce speed. That allows them adequate time to slow down. You'll also notice that the sign is on the side of the road that they're driving on. That just allows them, yeah, that's for me, that's what that sign is for me. I'm going to reduce speed. Now, when they're coming up to it, they can see the barriers, they can see the obstruction as it is illuminated. They're able to move out and around, see the end of the obstruction, and then come back in. If, of course, they don't see the obstruction, the barriers will guide them into the correct path and hopefully avoid as much damage as possible. Okie dokie, so what we're going to do now is we're going to be closing this road ahead. This is going to be a full road closure, and the important thing to remember about this is that you need to have a senior traffic officer or above to authorise a full closure. You can also be authorised to do one of these by a senior member of the police. Don't be listening to a blueberry if they ask you to do a closure. So the first thing to do is to park your truck across the road you wish to close. We're going to be closing this road here. Then of course the next thing is to place down the signs that we need and the lights as well. So let's just grab a marker so as we can see the distance from the corner. There we go. Distance at about 50 meters. We're going to be placing a reduced speed sign, not too close to the edge of the road. Now we've placed those signs down, we can start putting down some barriers. So while for the previous partial closure we started in the middle, this time we're going to start at one end. We are going to use the curvature of the road, and we're going to place barriers all the way along this white line that you can see on the floor. This is a sweeping curve, and we're going to be convincing people to go around and follow the road around. Okay, so the last thing we are going to do, now we've finished placing down these barriers in a sweeping curve, we're going to be placing a road sign just in front of the truck that will say road closed. This should be on such an angle that it is viewable from both sides of the closure. And of course, we will have to put a light onto this. So there we have the full closure. While you've got a full closure in effect, you must stay with the closure, and the senior officer or team manager or operations manager that has approved the closure must be around also. There we go. That's how you do a full closure. So there may be some occasions when the road that you wish to close is not a curve, but it is actually a side road leading off of a main road. In these circumstances, you do exactly as you would before, sign on the right side of the road with the barriers leading across the exit and a road closed sign. Parking the large truck behind it just gives that a little more presence and a little more visibility to the fact that the road is closed. Okie dokie, so I've taken a trip down to Kavala to have a look at some vehicles and see if I can find any vehicles to clamp. Now, you clamp a vehicle when it's parked illegally but not dangerously. So actually it looks like this truck up ahead is parked at the side of the road, not in a designated parking bay, but actually where it is, it's not particularly dangerous. So when you're going to clamp a vehicle, you do exactly what you would with an impound. You'd have a look at the vehicle and you'd say, "Hello, this is Highways JJ Abrams. Could the owner of the black truck please make yourself known, or I will be clamping your vehicle. Thank you very much." Wait a little while and see if anyone responds. "Hello sir, is this your vehicle?"
No, it's not.
Alright then, no worries at all. You have a good day, sir. No one's responded, so what we're going to do is we're going to start clamping the vehicle. Even if it's a truck, you don't need to message the owner about clamping a vehicle because you don't get rid of the vehicle. It's still going to be there when they come back. They'll just have to pay a quick fine for parking somewhere that is unsafe. Or not unsafe, but illegal. So there we go, that vehicle has been clamped. So that is the end of the traffic officer training. I do hope you guys have listened well and you'll bear it all in mind for when you do your training. Best of luck to you, and I hope to see you in game.